Good morning, good evening, and good unspecified hour of the day to you and your kin. Thank you all for tuning into the Locationally Challenged podcast. We call it that because each episode is filmed in a new location. Today's episode emanates from the local Chuck E. Cheese restaurant and entertainment center, but not inside, because that didn't work, and we failed to turn on the microphone. Instead, we are in the parking lot, sitting in the back of John Strange's Honda Element. My name is Jacob Vanderweide, and I'm the writer, director, producer, stagehand, moose wrangler, and lead editor on today's program. A quick note before we start the show. Most, but not all of the information recorded on this podcast is factually accurate. Now that we've gotten rid of the pesky swamp leech lawyers, let's begin. Joining me in the Chuck E. Cheese photo booth studio, car, are some of my accomplices. We have Mr. John Strange.
Heyo.
Miss Madeline Blanton, sometimes called Mum J. We have Catherine Womwell, Mr. Donovan Weir,
Hello.
Fisherman David Mays.
Please end my suffering.
David, they can't hear what you said. Oh. And a boy, Mr. Not Mr. Miss Lad. There you go. Lad Tyler Harity.
Oh.
What a cutie. John's phone turned it off. Angry. Now that I've introduced my minions for today, I would like to open our show with a brief monologue. I like eating. You like eating. We both like eating. We could eat together sometime. Not a date, though. No, not a date. Anyway, hypothetically, if we did eat, what kind of food would we eat? Let's find out using statistics. According to Reader's Digest, America's favorite food is pizza. So, we'd eat pizza. But where? Like most Americans, we would probably order a takeout pizza. Maybe we even change it up and get a little funky and go to a sit-down pizzeria. Although, because of the virus stuff, a lot of those indoor dining places have closed. What a shame. The last option for most anyone would be an entertainment center like Chuck E. Cheese. Why is that? I don't know. I want to be a Chuck E. Cheese. But nearly nobody else does. Back in the 1980s and 90s, there was a boom in indoor entertainment facilities, such as arcades, skating rinks, and bowling alleys. Nearly all of these venues offered pizza, along with their games. But since the mid-2000s, nearly all entertainment facilities have seen dramatic drops in attendance, causing many locations to close permanently. Many people have been left asking, what happened to my hometown amusement center? Cece's Pizza, Discovery Zone, and Disney Quest are all but forgotten. I would like to invite my co-host to comment on this crisis of entertainment. John, you're a child. What do you miss most about amusement centers?
I really liked it when amusement centers would get attacked by like T-Rexes and things like that, which I think probably is partly what caused their decline, because you can't rebuild from those attacks that often. But as a kid, there's nothing like eating greasy pizza in a place and then just having a giant T-Rex foot crash through the ceiling. It's the best.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Those were the days, man. Catherine, your sister is really into Disney. Kind of a concerning amount. Based on what she has told you, tell our listeners about the rise and fall of Disney Quest.
Yeah, so I don't know honestly that much, but I know it's like mostly due to the fact that people like under 10 can't really drive anywhere. It's really causing a lot of issues for transportation and stuff like that. You can see that school buses are becoming like more and more popular, but they don't have like the options to taxi around and go to Chuck E. Cheese or Disney Quest or anything. They have to pay for their own cars, and these children, all they have is a few dollars, a few quarters and stuff like that from their grandma for their birthday card, like, and it has a big like lion on it and it says happy birthday big boy, and it just doesn't work that way anymore, and they don't have enough money to buy their own car like the one we're sitting in right now. So it's just caused a drastic decline in the popularity.
I wish I had a few quarters like them. Tyler, you're a Soviet. What kind of indoor entertainment center is available in the former Soviet state of Azerbaijan?
Well, a fun fact about Azerbaijan is that it's not a real country. It is just one big Chuck E. Cheese restaurant and entertainment center. As such, a lot of funding from the GPU goes toward the entertainment center part of the country. Ergo, a lot of things like video games and a lot of their cheese pizza, far greasier, far better, honestly. And the video games they're just great. So that's all I have to say about that.
Sounds schmexy. Donovan, how do you think the indoor entertainment industry was impacted by the Obama administration?
Well, as we know, Obama's vice president was Joe Biden, the great Joe Biden, great Papa Biden, as Americans so fondly call him. So I believe that Joe Biden once said, the Dalai Lama calls me his father. And the Dalai Lama, as we know, is one of the greatest influencers of Chuck E. Cheese. You can see Chuck E. Cheese wearing the Dalai Lama's baseball cap. The Dalai Lama was a big mouse influencer. You know, it's one of these things that, you know, you just look at current events and past events, and Obama and Joe Biden, you just see it all coming together.
I do see it coming together. It's really cohesive. MJ, ask me a question.
So, hi, Jacob. I was just going to say, after the last podcast, you asked fans of the show, of which I am one, what we would like to call the fan base, and I said we should call them the Vanderweebs. Have you considered this?
You know, I read my comments. I don't really care for them, though. You know, y'all write some cool things. I know Zoe Riggs will write about 2 paragraphs really dissecting my work, but it doesn't affect me. I am more than my comment section. I am bigger than that. Amen. I'm my own person.
Good for you.
Wow.
So brave.
I really feel enlightened.
I just respect you even more now. I didn't know I could respect you even more, but that's so beautiful. I'm so glad for you.
Thank you. Okay, I gotta gain my composure. All right, David, we have seen an increase in entertainment venues, such as escape rooms and axe throwing. What do you predict would be the next indoor entertainment craze?
I don't know. If you've ever seen Toy Story, the growing sentience of toys is a big thing that's growing. So I think children will get a big kick out of bullying living things for entertainment, and that's maybe why we've actually seen a decline in some of the older entertainment, is because they're not getting with the times and having sentient toys to beat up.
I mean, that's a take. Thank you all for your wonderful insight. Maybe not, David. Anyway, I think I speak for all of my co-hosts present when I say to our beloved entertainment centers, RIP. I am now going to recklessly hand off control of the podcast to our current events correspondent, John. Be careful, listeners. She bites.
Well, hello, everybody. So just be careful out there. There's been some explosions, I hear. So on this current events section, today I'll be leading a special version of the regularly scheduled event. As promised by Jacob in the last episode, we'll be talking about current events of other worlds. Before I give my co-hosts a chance to prepare, let me begin with questioning. All right, Tyler, you dog. Let's not go with the dog. All right, Donovan, tell us about the explosion on the planet Exlocetar.
Yeah, so recently, as many news outlets such as reputable news outlets such as BuzzFeed, the Daily Wire, and the Montreat Whetstone have covered, the planet exploded. It was devastating. They found out that Jeff Bezos sent his own personal fleet of sweatshop workers up there to destroy the planet, which will be interesting to see how this impacts Amazon's stock price, but also just, you know, how people think of it. I think people think of Jeff Bezos as this warm, loving, bald man who laughs like a robot, and it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft reacts. Whether they take up arms with their own personal fleet of nukes. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, David, as the only person who still thinks fishing is fun, which planet has the best fishing spots?
I would say the planet of Florida is probably one of the most treacherous and hardest planets to get to due to the existence of the Florida man. But if one can get to Florida without being killed by the Florida man or his pet alligator, there's a good chance of catching really nice fish. But I think even Elon Musk is starting to colonize Florida as one of the lead anti-Florida men people in the country.
That's really fascinating. All right, Catherine, as the only person here who thinks kicking around a ball is fun, can you comment on why planets are shaped like balls?
Sorry, I'm going to start off with saying that this is incredibly offensive to me because I do not believe in this like ideal circular planet like most ignorant people do. I believe that our Earth is actually flat. If you look anywhere on the internet, it will say that the Earth is flat. I think that you have been miseducated and it's honestly offensive. So please get this microphone out of my face.
Wow, that's crazy. So I guess as our current Frisbee expert then, I'll turn it over to Jacob. Why are planets shaped like Frisbees?
I find it offensive that you think that I am a Frisbee expert. I'm actually an ultimate Frisbee expert. Thank you very much. So in that regard, our Earth is an ultimate Frisbee. I choose to chuck it out of the way when I so desire. When I'm ready, it will go flying into the sun with the speed of 27 stars, and I'll be happy.
Wow, so brave. So, as many of you know, King Drolandar of the star system Rankelfin just celebrated his 1 trillionth birthday. On behalf of our entire team, we're going to ask MJ to sing happy birthday in his native language.
Yes, hello listeners. I'm so happy to get the chance to educate you today. You see, the Rankelfars actually don't have vocal cords. They existed before that was a thing in evolution. So their birthday song is actually just a series of slaps.
That was truly beautiful. So incredibly heartwarming. I'm sure the king will appreciate your weathered voice. Well, listeners, unfortunately, this concludes our current events segment. Your favorite segment, of course. Don't die out there, whatever planet you're on.
Hello there, fellow communists. It's your comrade Taylor speaking. I'm introducing a new segment to this podcast. It's called ASMR with Taylor. This week, I will be eating Chuck E. Cheese pizza next to our microphone. Let's begin.
Hey, stop that. It's my turn. Jeez. Hey, listeners. My name is Donnie Van. Today, I will be introducing a new segment to our podcast. It's called World Religions. Our first world religion to discuss is the Falun Gong cult. In 1992, a man named Li Hongzhi began lecturing on his personal thoughts on religion in China. He combined ideas from Buddhism, Taoism to form the new religion of Falun Gong. The Chinese Communist Party initially saw it as a harmless offshoot of Buddhism, although his perception quickly changed. By the late 1990s, estimates placed the members of the cult at 70 million. When the members of the Falun Gong began to request greater autonomy, the Chinese government suppressed the movement. Hundreds of thousands of these cult members were rounded up and placed in concentration camps. Despite the Chinese government's attempt to end the cult, it persists to a lesser degree today. Li Hongzhi still leads the cult from a compound in New York City. Why does all this matter to you? Well, quite simply, American propaganda. The Falun Gong cult funds the Epic Times, a news organization known for its promotion of extremely far-right politics, and the performance troupe Shen Yun, which travels the United States and internationally to put on dance performances and symphonies. That is a lot of heavy information. Let's hear from my co-hosts and what they have to say on this topic. Have you ever heard about Falun Gong, the Epic Times, or Shen Yun before? John, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your existential pain?
So my pain kind of fluctuates on a daily basis and sort of with like the lunar setting at the time. So, full moon versus new moon, it's very different, but it can be anywhere between like 2.5 to like 13.6%.
You should really see a therapist about that. MJ, what kind of new fashion tips can we take from the Shenyang dancers?
Well, as your resident fashion expert, I just want to say the Shenyang are absolutely gorgeous. They have a dance called the breaching hippo. And we should just really take after them and all dress up in hippo cosplay and costumes this next semester. I think it's really the next trend. Entertainment centers are going to be doing it for all of their mascots. It's just where we need to be going, is pretending to be birthing hippos at all times.
Bless your heart. Our resident ladies man, David, would you date someone who works for the Epic Times?
I mean, sure. I mean, only if they can do, like... You know what I mean?
I 100% know what you mean. Tyler, if you're going to join a religion, how likely would it be for you to join the Falun Gong?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, I'm already practitioner of not the formal Falun Gong religion, but a side off branch, the Falun Gong these nuts got 'em religion. As a practitioner of this religion, I could say, truly got 'em.
Wow. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got a little emotional. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you all for listening to the first ever World Religion segment, the best segment. Controversial, I know. Comment down below any other cults we should cover.
Well, that was an experience. We'll see if that ends up happening again. Before we wrap up the show, I got one more segment for y'all. Hopefully, no snowmen were making in that. The cult and all that. Anyway, I have a southern accent now. Y'all got to deal with it. So this is usually called the round table discussion, but we ain't got a table in the back of the element. Yeah, it's more just like sitting around, kind of cramped. It's kind of like when illegal immigrants cross the border in the trucks. Yeah, they in trapezoids. So, if you remember from our last podcast, the roundtable discussion is when we talk about something that's a little controversial and each of us say something a little facetious about the topic, So this episode, I'm going to talk about something that has to do with our location being chunky cheese. So our question is thus: do video games cause violence? I'm going to hand it over to my right, and it's just going to go around in a circle.
So this is what I feel like about video games and violence. I feel like it depends on what you think of as violence. So is only killing a human violent, or is also killing an animal violent? Most people would say that killing an animal could also be violent, but what if you took that a step farther? What if you opened your mind to the possibility that pixels could be alive? Many scientists today are thinking that we live in a simulation, which means we ourselves are pixels. So if we're killing pixels in a video game, are we not murdering? Just some food for thought.
Yes. In our previous recording of this podcast, which was not recorded and you will never hear, my illustrious co-host, Catherine Wombat, pointed out to me that the animatronics are on the rise across the nation and that we should really be teaching our children how to fight them. Nobody has the money to go to places like West Point anymore, so video games are just really the next form of military training, and I fully believe that the violence they encourage should be encouraged further in our youth. Thank you.
All right, so I think one of the biggest issues that the United States has to confront in this day and age is actually cyberbullying. A lot of us have like Twitter accounts and things of that nature, and if you've ever gone on Twitter, logged in, kind of checked your profile and all that, you see like KFC like harassing, Wendy's and things of that nature, and it's just honestly disgusting. We can see that since the rise of video games and in-house like entertainment systems, cyberbullying has just blown up, and it's honestly disgusting. We need to confront this issue.
I believe it was the Dalai Lama who once said that he, and I took that really to heart. I really resonate with what MJ said about, the new violence training we have that we are sitting next to in the unreleased tapes that will never come to existence because it technically does not exist. I was sitting next to Terminator Salvation, the greatest, irrevocably the greatest video arcade game of all time. And shooting hot lead at those animatronics just brought something out of my soul that, I will never be able to replace, and will just help me replace this empty existential loneliness that I feel on a daily basis.
Well, with the increase of video games in 2020, there's actually been quite less school shootings, if you believe that. So I think the quality of video games going up is really stopping violence within schools, and not because we were quarantined.
As this podcast resident gamer, I would like to point out the fact that, yes, kill them all, make them all die. I love playing video games because it makes me murder simulate. Gosh, I really do like killing them pixels. All of those people must die. Burn, burn. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Well, I'll thank all of you, actually, for speaking and giving insight on these wonderful topics. I think our listeners were truly blessed by your presence. Well, this is us signing off for today. Stay curious, and don't forget what we always say. Los cultos de dinosaurios son divertidos. That's all, folks. We'll collide with your eardrums next time. Goodbye!